Hi and welcome. Just recently I've been significantly challenged by how we may be seeing this journey that we're going through with COVID-19 and how that may be impacting us as a church and also as a broader community. And what the Lord kept taking me back to was the story of Easter. You see, the Easter story is almost a metaphor for where we are now, or the other way around, that maybe this is a metaphor of what Easter has done for this planet those many hundreds of years ago. And so if we were to look at Easter one step at a time and then correlate how that may be for us today, I think, or I hope, that you may see that there is a very positive outcome in store for those who would call on the name of Jesus Christ. Let's begin with Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday, Jesus arrived in Jerusalem, and it was at a time of great celebration. But the expectation of the people when Jesus arrived was quite different to what the outcome that he was to bring. So there was almost an arrogance that Jesus was there for them and was going to sort out the issues there were of the day and, of course, rid them of the Roman oppressors. Then if we move forward in Holy Week to the Thursday night, or what is known in some church circles as Maundy Thursday. On that Thursday night, we experience the institution of the Lord's Supper, the communion, the Eucharist, as Jesus shared with his followers that he was to be handed over to the authorities, would die, and on the third day would rise again, much to the consternation of those who were there. So I'm wondering whether that Thursday could be looked at as the handbrake, a time they would reflect upon as the moment that it was all unravelling before their very eyes. Then we move forward to, of course, Good Friday, where, as far as the disciples were concerned, the whole thing just falls apart. That they were now in a position of questioning what was it they had heard Jesus say, questioning what it was that they had felt in their hearts, questioning and wondering where to from now, because the dream that they had been carrying, the faith that they had put their heart and soul into, appeared to be crumbling before their very eyes, and that maybe they had, if you like, backed the wrong horse. Then there must have come time of disorientation, a time where they wondered whether the dream was over. They wondered whether the time had now come for them to just go back to what they knew as their normal, go back to their fishing, go back to whatever it was their day job had been. That disorientation, that vacuum time of Jesus appearing to have left them in a hole. But then we have Sunday morning. Jesus rose as he had promised that he would. And yet there was still that disorientation, that unbelief, and justifiably so, because the disciples were now being called to actually face that lack of faith that they had, for them to recognize that the things of the past they now had to maybe unlearn and relearn, take it from their head to their heart as they recognized that Jesus indeed was the Christ. He had risen from the grave. Maybe this is where the church finds herself today, in a time of disorientation. Has what we've been doing in the past been as effective or as God called as we thought it was? Or has indeed God been bringing us to a point where we now need to trust him more than ever, where we need to reorientate our thinking, we need to reassess what he's calling us to? Maybe it's time to download a software update and reboot the church. It's a time of great excitement, as we know from the Easter story, that as they walked on the road to Emmaus, something leapt in their hearts as they began to recognize and understand what Jesus had indeed been talking about as he opened the scriptures to them. So let us move through this COVID-19 disorientation and move towards the recognition that Jesus is indeed alive and well and wants his church back, and that we can now move forward as those original disciples did, heading towards the time of Pentecost and excitement as God rebirths his bride, the church. So as we finish, what does the empty tomb mean for you? And as we wait, as those disciples did, what are we waiting for? May God encourage you. May you seek him for yourself and the path and the journey that he has you on. God bless you, and may favour be on you and your household this day and forever. Amen.